Hello and welcome. You're watching the Saturday edition of This is Exclusive. Tonight on This is Exclusive, we put the spotlight on India's military exercise. The Tri-Services exercise, which is happening after Operation Sindoor. What's the significance of this entire exercise? And is there a messaging coming in from the Indian Armed Forces? Tonight, for the first time, we are broadcasting the first set of images coming in from this entire exercise. Trishul, which is the name that has been given as far as the army leg is concerned. We'll also reveal the name that has been given by the Air Force. All this and much more in this edition of This is Exclusive. But up first, let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. India launches its largest tri-service military exercise, releases a teaser of the war gaming 6 months after Operation Sindoor. Indian Army conducts Vayu Samanvay exercise focused on coordinated use of unmanned aircraft systems and counter UAS measures. One entry, over 15,000 turned up. Negligence becomes the major cause that led to the deadly Andhra Pradesh temple stampede.
टेम्पल का इसलिए इतना कटा हुआ ये कंप्लीट देख सकते हैं पूरा स्टील का दिल से ये गिर पूरा गिर गए.
As stampede kills 10 people and injures more than 100. Republic reports live from the temple's stampede site. Ladies and gentlemen, India launched its largest tri-service military exercise since Operation Sindoor, and it starts on Thursday, dubbing it as Trishul 2025, which is essentially the army leg, and would be mobilizing the army, navy as well as the air force in a phased drill that would be carried out across Gujarat as well as Rajasthan through November. Focused on forging tighter joint operations and battlefield synergy, the maneuvers are concentrated in Gujarat's volatile Kutch region near the Sir Creek frontier, a perennial hotspot with Pakistan. The army is essentially rolling out the T-90 tanks, BrahMos and Akash missile batteries and Prachand attack helicopters, while the Air Force would be deploying Rafale Su-30 MKI jets alongside Sea Guardian and Heron drones. Offshore, the Navy has committed Kolkata-class destroyers, Nilgiri-class frigates, and swift attack craft patrolling the western seaboard. Now, in a spotlight on the unified special operations, elite units such as the Army's Para, that's the SF, Navy's Marcos, and Air Force's Garud commandos are executing the seamless land-air-sea missions, underscoring India's push towards integrated warfare dominance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a classic tri-services exercise, and the objective of this entire exercise is to see whether at all the three services can basically carry out a joint operation. The agility of the jointness itself is something that the Indian Armed Forces are going to test over the next few days. There would be challenging circumstances under which the Armed Forces would be operating. Here's a quick snapshot of the exercises that have taken place so far.
In a significant demonstration of India's growing military prowess, the country's tri-services exercise, Trishul, is underway in the western sector. The exercise involves the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force honing the joint operations across diverse terrain and mission spectrums. With cutting edge equipment and advanced technology, the Indian Armed Forces are showcasing their capabilities in integrated multi domain environments. Trishul embodies India's resolve to safeguard its border through jointness, Atmanirbharta, and innovation, demonstrating a commitment to building a tech enabled and future ready force. The exercise is a testament to India's growing military synergy and integrated operational capabilities, sending out a strong message of deterrence and readiness.
Where the land meets the sea and the sky echoes with the roar of strength, a new chapter of India's power begins at the dawn of the Mega Tri-Services Exercise 2025. On every inch of our soil stands the courage that guards a billion dreams. This is the strength of the Indian Army. In the boundless skies, where speed meets precision, soars the pride of the Indian Air Force. Across the deep blue, where silence meets strength, the Indian Navy. From the guardians of the sky, to the sentinels of the sea, and to the amphibians on the land, and the steel on the deserts. One flag, one force, one nation. The power of integration comes live in the Mega Tri-Services Exercise 2025. The skies will thunder, the seas will stand guard, the amphibians will rise strong. Coming soon, India's Tri-Service Exercise. Gear up for exciting updates as the action unfolds.
This is just a trailer of what India is preparing for the future. Exercise Trishul, strength in unity, showcasing India's military might.
Unrelated but multiple exercises which are basically underway. Ladies and gentlemen, beyond the tri-services exercises, the armed forces have been carrying out multiple exercises across the country. The Northern Command just about a few days ago conducted a series of exercises that was from the icy heights of Ladakh. Now shifting focus to another such exercises that has been carried out by the Indian Army, which was named as the Vayu Samanvaya exercise. The exercise focused on coordinated use of unmanned aircraft systems and counter-UAS measures. Various indigenous drones and counter-drone equipment were put on display. Indian Army, in fact, is growing focus on use of drones as they are increasingly being used in wars. The Army aims to acquire a large number of drones with the help from local industries. Now, taking a cue from Operation Sindoor, Indian Army is further strengthening its drone warfare training. In fact, I'm going to stay with these visuals that are basically coming in, but there is also more details coming in with regards to Vayu Samanvaya Part 2, which basically has showcased joint interoperability between various arms of technology-enabled operations in sensitive frontier regions, and the exercise has essentially enabled troops to experiment with indigenous technologies under operational environment. There is also a statement that has now been released by Lieutenant General Dheeraj Sheth, who happens to be the GOC Southern Commander, who has essentially said that this exercise has contributed to the capability, development and accelerated induction of drone and counter-drone systems in the Indian Army, and it is undoubtedly a significant step in the Indian Army's effort to embrace modern technology in a multi-domain environment. I'm going to stay with these visuals while I'll also bring in Lieutenant General P.R. Shankar, former DG Artillery Indian Army, who's joining us on this broadcast. General P.R. Shankar, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Many with whom I spoke to in the last few days are saying that this is a normal exercise that is being carried out. Is it really normal when you have multiple exercises and simultaneous exercises that are being carried out across the country?
Oh, thanks a lot at the outset for inviting me over to your show. Thanks a lot. This exercise isn't normal. It's one of the biggest exercises which is being carried out along our Western Front. It's an integrated exercise of the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. And like you said earlier, and it's been shown in all the visuals, we are trying out new equipment, new technologies, in a multi-domain environment. A lot of coordination is required between drones, missiles, firing, tanks, ground, air, everything. Plus the fact this is being carried out in the sensitive areas of South Rajasthan, North Gujarat, and the North Arabian Sea. And this is next to that sensitive Sir Creek area where Pakistan has been taking some action, though there's not much threat to it, but there's a great message to Pakistan. Now, one shouldn't see this exercise in isolation. There have been some exercises being carried out in Northern Command, which have been carried out in Northern Command. Southwestern Command carried out an integrated firing exercise a few days back. So there's a whole lot of readiness and force projection being messaged across to Pakistan. Also, the Indian Air Force, we have also issued out a NOTAM for the Eastern Command in the 8th, right? And that also overlaps this. It is a very important exercise in the sense that an exercise of this scale and nature happening in the Western Command on the westernmost edge of our country, and another exercise overlapping it in the easternmost part of our country indicates that you're doing something for a two-front operation. Our readiness is being tested. Then, of course, there's a messaging on to China also, the whole lot of things. Internally, you're doing this exercise of the first of its kind for the kind of jointness which we are aiming for. I suppose a lot of joint structures will be put in place, joint communications, joint logistics, joint targeting, joint analysis, and the works, right? And that is being backed up by live firing of all kinds of weapon systems. So I think it's a very important exercise. Also, you're looking at a fact that, in this exercise, probably the theater command concept will be exercised to see how fast it can be implemented, as, our Prime Minister has said. Well, that's the internal part. That's as far as India is concerned, our readiness, our signaling to Pakistan and all that. But just look at it from Pakistan's viewpoint. Pakistan must be in a TZ by now. Their entire front has been, activated in some form or the other by all these exercises from north to south. Whether it's by design or default, I leave it to everyone's imagination. But the fact is, they would be ready, and they've also issued NOTAMs, and they would be ready for any eventuality, which puts them under a lot of tension. And this has to be seen in the context that they've just had a spat with Afghanistan, and things are not cool there. Every day they are losing people in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. So there's a lot of tension on the eastern border. There's a lot of tension on the western border.
Right.
Now, to compound all this, there are problems with the Tehrik-e-Labbaik Pakistan, which is almost at war with Pakistan, especially because Pakistan is now being forced to send troops to Gaza. So I think the effect on Pakistan also has to be taken account. So that's what makes Exercise Trishul quite different from all the exercises which we have seen so far.
Okay. General Shankar, I'll request you to stay on with us because we are picking up some more details of the exercise that is going to be carried out. In fact, as far as Trishul is concerned, it is being codenamed for the Army leg. We're also picking up more details of the Navy operation that is going to be carried out. The exercise basically features Indian Navy's carrier battle group, including INS Vikrant. As far as the Army is concerned, it's the T-90 battle tanks that will be showcasing the country's growing military capabilities. Roughly about anything between 30 to 50,000 troops are going to participate in it. 40 fighter jets, 20 warships would be participating, and largely looking at the joint operation, which would be to strengthening deterrence posture along the Pakistani border. Now, General Shankar, INS Vikrant to participate in the Navy leg is what we are now picking up. So it's clearly a strong messaging that has been done, particularly from the naval front also, given the fact that you have the carrier battle group being brought in. And that formation in itself, I remember the images of the carrier battle group, particularly when the Operation Sindoor was basically underway, and the deterrence that it essentially created.
Yeah, the carrier battle group being part of this operation takes it to another level. You must understand, these are exercises which other nations dream of, right? To put a carrier battle group in place, the entire Southern Command, like General Dheeraj said, has said, a lot of action would be taking place and a lot of rehearsals. The Air Force giving seamless cover to both, and a lot of rehearsals taking place. See, the best part of this entire exercise, which I find, is it's not only just rehearsing; they're also carrying out firing, and nothing beats firing for confidence. Right? At the end of the day, you can do anything, but if you fire and actually do things on ground, it takes a different hue altogether. So I think all in all, it showcases India's capabilities. And this coming at the back of Op Sindoor. Op Sindoor showcased our multi-domain capabilities, offensive capabilities across the board over the 4 days, May 6th, 10th. There's no doubt left in everyone's mind. And this puts everything in a different plane. And it also gives a lot of signals, like I said, to China, Pakistan, even USA. Remember, we've just concluded a 10-year framework for defense cooperation with USA. And this gives them a lot of thing. You see a whole lot of commentators from USA saying, look, we can't let India go off our strategic partnership because India has got capabilities. And India is one of the main architects or other main, main pillars of the Indo-Pacific construct. And this is what the Japanese and the Australians have told me. Look, many Australians and Japanese have asked, look, what's the future of Quad? If India and USA are not on one page, Quad collapses. Right? And to that extent, this exercise reinforces many things. We've already had a defense cooperation the framework with Australia and Japan. Now with USA also, which has been inked 2 days back, it is something. You're going to a different level, right? And overall, I think people have to take note of the fact there's a new
Ishan,
security provider in the Indian Ocean region.
General Shankar, I'll just request you to stay on with us because there is a massive development that has actually taken place in the Indian Ocean region, and we're going to put out the news in a short while from now. But before that, yet another exercise that has been carried out, and it's the Indian Army's Sudarshan Chakra Corps that has conducted a logistics exercise, Sudarshan Shamta, as part of Tri-Services Exercise 2025, showcasing innovation, self-reliance in military logistics. The exercise highlighted technology-driven solutions, including logistics, drones, dispensation systems, and inventory management software to enhance operational efficiency. In fact, the GOCNC Southern Command, Lieutenant General Dheeraj basically praised for the logistics excellence for their performance and initiatives in the technology absorption, underscoring the Indian Army's commitment to modernizing its logistics capabilities. Now, on your screens right now, these are the first images coming in of exercise Sudarshan Shamta. In fact, this has been carried out in the last few days. So as we've been pointing out, multiple exercises apart from what is being carried out by the Tri-Services right now. Shifting focus now to another big story coming in, and I'll also request our guests to stay on. This is a big development taking place in the Indian Ocean region. Sources now confirming that the Indian Navy is keeping a close watch on Chinese vessels in the Indian Ocean region, with Vice Admiral Sanjay Vatsan, Navy Vice Chief, stating that they are monitoring each and every Chinese vessel that is entering the area. The Navy is aware of the movements of the Chinese ships, including research vessels and warships, and is fully prepared to deal with any contingency. This comes after reports emerged of the Chinese tracking vessel Yuan Wang 5 operating in the Indian Ocean in September. The Indian Navy's vigilance is basically part of its ongoing Operation Sindoor, and it continues to assess threats and challenges in the region. On your screens right now, these are images of the Chinese vessel at the Indian Ocean region. Let me also put out the breaking news now coming in. What we are picking up is that, in fact, the destination of the ship has hasn't been listed as yet. So is this some sort of a spy vessel that has been used by the Chinese? That is not known at this point in time, but top sources within the Navy now confirming that they are monitoring the situation on the ground. Let's take a look at what VCNS Vice Admiral Sanjay Batsayan had to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are monitoring each and every Chinese vessel that enters the Indian Ocean region. Each and every one of them, as far as the naval ships are concerned or the research vessels are concerned. So we are aware of them. That is one. As far as holding this event concurrent to the ongoing Op Sindoor, the message is very clear that while we are in Op Sindoor and it is the operation is not yet been shut down or closed, so we are effectively deployed depending on what our requirements are, our threat assessment is, and that will continue to be there and will be ready to take on any eventuality as and when and if it happens. But at the same time, the Indian Navy is also going to continue with its ongoing efforts towards ensuring that all our planned activities with respect to global and regional security alignments, our friendship, our events that have been planned, continue to go on hand in hand, and we can afford to do that.
General Shankar, I'm just off track right now, but I can't help it but to take this question to you because this is a significant development. Would it be appropriate to say that it possibly could be the Chinese spy vessel that has been largely spoken about, or are we coming to a conclusion very fast here? Because I'm told, as my colleague Ishan was also pointing out, that the ship, as per what we have picked up from public domain, that they haven't listed their destination. What do you really make of it? I want to stay with the images also right now on the screens.
Yeah, look, if an exercise of this nature is happening, it is only natural that the Chinese would like to know what's happening. And they would like to send a ship or there. And they have a lot of, you see, one of the problems which China has, we have to understand, is they don't have a base. So they have to keep sending surveillance vessels into this area to, know what's happening. Otherwise, they wouldn't know what's happening, right? So I mean, while one might say that we don't know the destination, it's not listed, we don't know where it's going, but what Chinese do are also quite clear. They would like to monitor what's happening here. So it's not off this thing. It's nothing to be worried about, like what the vice chief has said. They are under monitoring. It's just one ship. They'll take whatever data they have to and go. You can't stop that from happening, but nothing to worry about. I want to take you back to that Sudarshan Shamta, which is going on, the logistics exercise in the desert, which you showed. That's a very important exercise because in the deserts, your logistics are of great importance. The frontline fighters and all can go where they have to go, but the logistics is very important. Same problem for the Chinese here. You must understand the Chinese are under a tyranny of distance. The moment they leave the South China Sea, till they come to Djibouti, they have no base in between. There is no place which they can call a base where they can go and re-victual or get ammunition or refuel or, do repair and maintenance. So they have to come up with one odd ship here and there and for their logistics, all that. So I wouldn't really give too much credence to this. I'm sure the Navy will take care of this whole story.
General Shankar, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure having you on our broadcast. That was General P.R. Shankar joining us on this broadcast and putting this into perspective. Thank you very much, Ishan, for getting us the latest details on the Chinese ship that has been spotted at the Indian Ocean region. And as experts pointing out, nothing much to make of it, but at the same time, the timing is quite significant because this comes just ahead of India's biggest military exercise, Trishul. Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. Coming up, trending with my colleague Rakshita.